Oh my gosh, so organised.
We're live. I've got a little bit on talisman, but it's in a book.
It's got
I
its same
only know
thing.
about talisman what I know, which is the square root of sweet FA. But that's the knowledge I've got.
It's okay, Lana. We're allowed to puff tonight. Hey, Bubbles. Hey, Soldier. I hope
Hi,
everybody.
Soldier. This is my talisman.
Is it, babe? Evening, Kelly, my lovely. Hope you're well.
Hi, Kelly.
So we'll get a minute for everybody to come in. So I hope everybody's had a good day today.
Gorgeous weather again, wasn't it?
It's been beautiful.
It's been lovely.
You know what I did today?
What?
I went out and bought some sun lotion. I then came in and stupidly, I looked at the weather and I put a curse on it because it's cloudy now. It's because I bought sun lotion.
What you bought sun lotion for?
Because
Kelly,
it's sunny.
Kelly,
Hi, Jules. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Soldier. Bubbles.
Hey,
Hi,
Joe.
Jules.
We're all
Joe,
good, thank you, Kelly.
Soldier, Kelly.
Oh, we're on Soldier's big telly.
Oh, scary.
Never been on a
Oh,
big
Kelly,
screen
hope you
before.
feel better soon, my sweets. How's Joe tonight? So tonight's topic is talismans. Only two people.
And Lindsay's an expert.
Only two people know about talismans. Anyways, and that is Claire and Lana. So, and you know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh, dear me.
So,
Hey, Louise.
So, good evening, Kelly. Hope you feel better soon, my lovely, says our lovely Jules. So, take it away, ladies. Who's going to start?
Going through this.
Who's going to start?
Oh dear. So shall I start off by saying what a talisman is?
You start, Claire.
I'm reading, by the way. I'm not
just chipping.
So, a talisman can be nearly anything that is thought to bring good luck or provide protection, but it's most often an object. The idea has a long history in all religions and societies from ancient times to present, and in some cases it is associated with elemental power. The word itself has roots in the Arabic talism, and the Greek talion, which both translate to initiation into the mysteries. Often, a talisman is worn on the body or kept in a pocket. Each sign of the zodiac has a corresponding gemstone thought to be one for the person born under that sign, for example, and birthstones are made into rings and necklaces. A ring received as a gift, an inherited object, or even something found can be a talisman. However, children will sometimes pocket a smooth stone that might serve as one over time. Much depends on what value, if any, the bearer associates with the object. The Celts had four-leaf clover as a talisman of good luck, while the Chinese would capture a live cricket and keep it in a box made of a weeping willow wood. The pentagram, the cross, and the anchor are also examples.
The anchor?
Anchor. A-N-K-H, anchor. In some instances, stop being rude. It didn't have a W. I've lost where I am.
We're at the anchor part.
In some instances,
I married a talisman before I divorced him.
I've met a lot of anchors. Oh dear me. In some instances, such an object or symbol is adopted for negative purposes. So, like the swastika that Adolf Hitler chose as the Nazi party emblem for World War II, for example, was an ancient talisman depicted throughout history as a symbol of good luck, appearing in cultures around the world. In many religions, it remains a positive symbol, but in the West, its more recent history overshadows its roots. Another co-opted symbol is the pentagram. which many today associate with Satan worship. It is actually a symbol that dates back 5,000 years, and its first association includes angles, directions of orientation, the 5 closest planets, and the classic 5 elements of the earth, air, fire, water, and divine being. Wiccans continue to use the pentagram as a positive image believed to be representative of the divine nature of earth elements. Many people carry, wear, or own a talisman but are unaware of it. The lucky penny that someone saves on the dresser top, the amulet that's never taken off, Grandad's pocket watch, and a photograph kept in a wallet might fulfill this role. Even something as mundane as a lucky mouse pad can be one to a gamer or a coder.
Wow.
So there you go. So a talisman doesn't have
talismans can be
anything. Anything.
Interesting. Lana, what's on your necklace?
Well, I got this for my birthday from my son, and he had to send for it from Latvia. So it's Latvian symbols that mean various things, like good luck and prosperity and things like that. So it's kind of, I think it's classed as a wheel of life in Latvia. They look quite like runic symbols, but I always wear symbols, so
I think it's lovely.
It is lovely.
I never take that off because it's kind of goes back to my roots.
Yeah. It's nice when you've got something though that takes you back to your roots, though. I think it's really good, and like you said, you've got the symbols on it as well. I wouldn't have put that up, soldier. I didn't read it properly. I thought you were putting something really good in. Did you know the Greek god Cronus chopped his dad's Uranus balls off, separating heaven and earth forever? Evening, Heather. It's going to be one of them nights.
Hi, Heather.
So let's talk about, go on then, Egyptian. What would have we got any Egyptian talismans, Lana? Claire?
Well, yeah, I mean, you look on all the temples, the kind of, it can be built into, talismans can be built into architecture. I do know that. I'm trying to remember stuff that so it can be built into architecture, which is why the stonemasons, they would put their symbol into the buildings. And I think that it kind of, different cultures have always done that. So yes, the Egyptians,
the Mayans would have them, wouldn't they?
Yeah, the Mayans
use symbols and signs.
And the Vikings.
Yes.
So we've got runic markings, and I always remember something that is quite, well, I found it interesting at the time, but a friend of mine was, he could read the runes, and he'd lived in Norway for some time. He was married to a Norwegian lady, and anyway, he said people don't realise that, and builders do it today, but they might not realise what it means. So the diamond shape rune is called Ing. I hope I'm right on that, but I think it's called Ing. And builders still build that into the buildings today. But in those days, before Christianity arrived, the Vikings would sort of decorate their homes with different, good luck runes, I suppose. When Christianity arrived, they hid them in the rafters, so they still would inscribe the homes with ink.
Hi, Julia.
And it's strange because when he told me about it, I was actually, a few days later, I was going past a new build, and it had the big diamond shape in a different.
We've got them around here.
I've seen them, yeah.
So I just thought I thought
it was a decoration.
I always thought it was just a decoration. Do you know how? You look at brick walls, and we see this now. You're going to look at it with a different set of eyes now, aren't you?
Because we can relate to something that's come from all that, well, sort of centuries ago, and it's
Yeah.
come back with us. And people probably don't know what, the builders probably don't know what it means, but
a lot of them don't. I bet a lot. I wonder if we get any bodybuilders. If we get any bodybuilders, no. If we get any builders in chat, love your angels behind you. Yes.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
I've only got like a paragraph that says ancient Egyptians had their talismans, including the scarab beetle, which is believed, and I can't believe what that says something about time, an anchor which represents physical and eternal life, and heart representing, well, the heart, and it just says, and the list goes on. So yeah, Egyptians obviously did have.
Yeah, Yo-Yo sucked her cheeks in when you said anchor. I saw her just go. A laugh coming through. Oh, she's sucking biscuit out of her teeth. It's all the ladies. She's munching on food. But I think, I think it's interesting, all the different, like you said, signs that we actually see today that we wouldn't know would have anything to do with like talismans or signs that would have been used back then, like you said, warding off evil. Keeping evil from the doors. They used to put signs and symbols on the doors, didn't they? You've got your lucky horseshoe.
Yeah.
So, again, would that tie in with a talisman, a lucky horseshoe, having the horseshoe on the door?
They thought that was magical.
It's like a charm, isn't it? And it's a charm meant for good luck. So yeah, I would class it as a talisman.
Meant to hang on the door that way because when the horseshoe was first made, they couldn't believe how magical it was, that it didn't hurt the horse. And if they thought if you tipped it that way on your door, your good luck dripped out, which is why you must have it that way.
Why you always have it that way. That's how I've got to remember it, because I was looking at, that's the only thing I haven't got is a horseshoe. So I'm going to go to somebody's horse farm and second have a shoe. Off your horse the next time you shoe him, can he have an horseshoe?
Well, I was walking and I found one. So poor horse must have lost it.
Oh,
in the forest on a bridle way, and
we might have
to look for me because I'd found it naturally. If you see what I mean.
So,
do you know,
in Norfolk there was a place where at Iristed, I think it was called Iristed, and there were only enough room to moor like 2 boats up. But just up, they were like this big old church. You got no phone signal there or anything, but you've got a massive church. And there were about a row of 4 houses, and they used to put this box out, and it had all horseshoes in, and she just used to ask for a donation to be left. And it was just like nobody were on stall. There was just a box left at side, so it were like trusted that people would leave the money for what they took. But the horseshoe was put upside down to catch the devil. And Jules has got a horseshoe on her gate. I hope you've got it the right way, Jules. I hope you've got it the right way.
See, I've got what is it? My nan's old rosary beads in my car. Yeah. And they to me are my talisman because they're my good luck. Every time I'm in my car, I stroke them, they're my good luck charm.
I think historically people have always, always find necklaces or pendants or something that kind of gives people, I suppose, that extra. I think this is what talismans were designed for, going way back, was to give the wearer or the person who owned it extra sort of power. And I did remember that talismans can ward off sort of evil, as Claire mentioned, and but also they can do harm. So it's got the adverse effect, and then you've got talismans and amulets, and so there's a distinction between those because amulets you wear as a protective element against evil around the person who's wearing it. So there are different kind of there is a difference in that, because talisman and amulet is closely related.
I'm going to say, I bet a lot of people get talismans and amulets.
Yeah.
So I bet it's very easy in conversation to be talking about something and it actually be more amulet than talisman kind of thing. So but like you say, I've got my dad's wedding ring and I've wore that since I was like 12-year-old. And to me, like what Claire was saying, she's got Nan's rosary beads. I've got that really would be an amulet rather than a talisman, wouldn't it?
I would say,
because
it's close to your heart. You're wearing close to your heart chakra, so it kind of combines that energy with your dad. Really. So it's a protective element in that case, because it's bound by love.
Nothing stronger. Nothing stronger than love. Hey, Jade, hope you're well, my lovely. Jules, I haven't got a lucky charm. You've got a lucky charm on your bloody gate. Joyce has got a horseshoe. I've definitely got to get a horseshoe. I saw one in bloody market today, and I thought,
did you?
It were a pot one though. It weren't a proper horseshoe. It were made of pot.
I could always ask my daughter's partner.
You'll have to ask if they've got a spare shoe.
Because his father is kind of a farrier, so
Have you seen what Jules has written?
I can't carry my gate around with me.
Get a nice chain, Jules, round your neck.
You could carry your gate. Gillian's got her Auntie Mary's ring off her dad's side. So again, what's the difference between a talisman and a charm type thingy? That's the question.
A charm type thingy. Well, the charm
terminology.
It would be amulet. It would be an amulet. Charms and amulets. It's kind of designed to bring the wearer good luck, the usual kind of thing, good elements and good energy to the wearer rather than obviously bad.
Like a rabbit's foot, isn't it? A rabbit's foot is like a good luck charm. So that's more of like the charm things. Jade, I've just found out that you're supposed to have the horseshoes facing upwards, because if you have them facing down, you lose everything. So you have them facing up and it holds the pot of gold, so it holds the luck. Evening, Anne-Marie, hope you're well, my lovely. Amulet, that's the word, talisman and an amulet. But you've got your amulets, you've got your talismans, and then you've got your thingamabobs, the charm type thingamabobs. So I wonder when, do we know when it dates back to, when the talismans or the amulets first come about? Do we know who?
It was in the likes of Sumeria and Babylonia. They kind of started it first because it came from the Middle East.
Hello, Margaret.
I think it came into Europe, possibly with alchemy. Alongside alchemy, because you've got the Kabbalah, which is Egyptian, and alchemy, and they all use symbols.
I'm nodding as though I know.
In Islam, it was in the 12th century.
So we're looking round about that time then. I mean, they probably would have had them before.
It
might not have been called the name. They might have not been called a talisman before, but that's what they would have been towards. That's what I heard my mum said something about it being the wrong way, inviting bad spirits in your home. Evening, Paul. I'm not sure whether it invites bad spirits. I suppose it's that. For me, that would go on a belief thing. Whether it invites
talisman can be used for good and bad.
It can.
You can curse a talisman though, can't you? Is it a talisman that you can curse and pass it on, like give it to somebody and it's got the curse? said curse.
It would already be designed to inflict
To be
harm
that way,
on
right.
the wearer.
So be very careful what you buy
Mm-hmm.
when you're out buying your second-hand stuff and you think, "Ooh, look at this," and you could mean bring anything in to your home. What era were the Druids around? I don't know.
Druids. I'm going to go back to.
I don't know how to get other screen up to have a look.
It's medieval, isn't it? It's medieval or pre-medieval, I would think.
Hang on, I'm going to try and attempt something.
Oh dear.
If I go off a minute, I'm coming back on.
Have you done it?
No, I don't know how to move it across screen. Oh, I've done it. Hey, I haven't done
You've done it.
Sort of done it. I've only gone and bloody done it.
Oh, wow.
So, what am I looking for? Dating at Druids.
3rd century BC.
There we go. Yo-yo's quicker.
Wow.
Right.
I didn't look it up. I knew. I was just testing you.
Were they BC or AD? Druids
BC.
is Celtic. Margaret's put 3rd century BC. Look at Margaret. They're all everybody knows it.
Google.
Uncle Auntie Google. Margaret might not. I've missed Margaret's healing hands tonight, I must say, and I muchly needed them. So Margaret, I'm coming to you next week. I'm going to put in a well-known talisman.
I've got 10, but I've not heard of them. So there's the Medal of Saint Benedict. Has anyone heard of that?
Yeah. But I don't know. I've not seen one. I've heard of it.
So on one side of the medal is a cross of Saint Benedict and an incantation recited to drive away the devil. The letters around the outside of the medal, V, R, S, N, S, M, V, I can't speak Latin or whatever it is, stands for Balti Retro Satana Nanquam Swade Mihavana.
Sounds like you've ordered something on the menu.
In English, that translates to before Satan, suggest not to be thy vain things. So St. Benedict's teachings have been around for centuries, recorded most completely in the 6th century writings of St. Gregory the Great. But the incantation that adorns his medal came much later and was discovered during a trial for witchcraft in 1647, where a group of women were on trial for witchcraft in the Bavarian city of Nattenberg. The women testified that while they did wield the power of witchcraft and the devil, there was one place where they had no power, which was at the nearby abbey at Metten. The women claimed that abbey was under some sort of particularly powerful protection and that they were unable to overcome whatever it was. When the abbey was investigated to find out why it had kept the witches away, the townsfolk actually found something, painted crosses hung on the walls of the abbey. They had some inscription on them that's now used on the medal. There was no clue what the letters stood for until they uncovered a manuscript dated from 1415. The manuscript depicted an illumination of the saint holding a scroll and a staff. On that scroll and staff was the entire incantation that's now associated with Benedict. The incantation that had stifled the witch's power went 17th century viral, and medals stamped with the letters spread across the continent. They became known as being incredibly effective against anyone suffering from demonic possession. They were also believed to give the wearer divine protection, help drive away anything evil, and ultimately bring about peace of mind and pure heart.
Yeah, I've got here. Amulets are worn by people of a form of protection and defense against evil around them, whereas though a talisman is just the opposite of the amulet. It says talismans are believed to give more power to the person wearing it. So yeah. So, but I think you keep that way. I've read that and it sort of like clicked in my head now, the difference between them both.
It can be good though. The talisman that I came about. It was this place in the south somewhere. I can't remember whether it was Cornwall or somewhere like that. Would make talismans, and they called the Circle of Raphael, and they use angelic scripture and it's kind of symbols from Solomon, which signify sort of an angelic power for all kinds of good things. It's not just, it can do harm. It depends on the symbols that you put, that you kind of imbue the metal or whatever it may be that you're wearing at the time. But so I kind of read about this and I was quite intrigued. So I sent away for one, and the company is still going to this day. I mean, this was sort of near enough 20 years ago. And there's a sister company called the Enlightened Path. So they tell you a lot about, which is this booklet here, which I haven't really read. I should have read, but I did read it 20 years ago. And it was interesting because these particular talismans that you can wear are beautiful, and you can get them in silver and gold. If I just sort of hold it up. So I'm trying not for the light to hit it. So these are angelic symbols which kind of bring about, it's called the 7 angels. So it calls upon the 7 archangels for protection for the wearer.
Right.
And on the other side is the caduceus for healing. So it is most definitely for good and for protection. And it is a beautiful thing to actually wear. And when it arrived, I remember I opened the box and it smelt of incense. So they mentioned in the literature that the person who actually does this is called an adept. So they are the ones who will maybe inscribe them or bless them in some way and give it that extra magical power.
Yeah.
But I kind of remember as well, going back, my mum wasn't feeling very well and I sent away for a talisman, but in her case, she could carry it on a person, but she couldn't look at it. It was in a pouch. Apparently it would kind of remove a certain amount of the power if you held it and looked at it outside of the pouch. So she had to carry it with her. So that was, I think there must be different levels of I suppose, ability in this line of work. Yeah. And it's something that's got to be handed down through generations. There's no kind of quick course that you can go on about talismans, really.
No, not really.
No, not really.
I've just put some pictures up of different talismans, and obviously the horseshoes come up as a talisman. The horseshoe talisman. There's something that looks like I think this is going to be made out of ivory. I can't see it, but I think for the shape of it, it's like a little tusk type thing, and that's a talisman for money. So you've got all these different talismans. We've got the magic talisman that comes in, and that's like a little bit of pot, and it's got like so it's like clay, and some's got a little hand in, some's got a man, like hieroglyphic kind of symbol type things, what you find on caves. That's what it's sort of like in them, and they're just in like little pieces of clay. But yeah, there's so many different amulets that you can wear for different things. Timeless talismans. They're the ones like it's like the hand. Do you know which type? I mean, there's like the hand talisman that you can get. It tells you how to create a money talisman as well. Is that talisman, Solomon Pentacle, Rabbi Seal necklace amulet.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful ones actually.
That one.
Looking at them. Yeah, that's the one. That's a talisman. What did I say that one was for? Timeless talisman.
I could do with that.
Yeah, from the evil eye to the sacred heart, we take a look at some of the world's most powerful and popular amulets.
Did you see what Joe Mack's written?
What?
He says, did you know that you can bless something for someone, you can put love into it?
Yeah. Yeah. So soldiers put so is it like a talisman is blessed by someone and an amulet holds something like a lock of hair, etc.? That's what I was thinking. I don't know. I mean, for me, an amulet could be anything. For me, an amulet is something that you'd. So if I went into a shop and I were looking at crystals and stuff, I could pick a crystal up and I'll use that as an amulet because that'll give me protection. That'll thingy. Whereas
protective, yeah.
If I were looking for a talisman, then I'm looking something that's going to empower me. So there might be certain crystals that I could buy and use as a talisman because that crystal could be more of a thing, or it's like looking. Again, you can find talismans that are for money. So. I don't know how that's going to make you gain more money, but I suppose I don't even know how a talisman for money would work. I suppose it'd help you with your finances, wouldn't it?
Well, it's meant to, but I think in this, where I got my talisman from, there are various other talismans that kind of, I don't know if you can see. I always go the wrong way, but different ones are for different things. So can be for, to bring prosperity and good luck and wealth. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, you can just see them. Yeah, can't see them, but you can see them. Yeah. Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Yeah, it says thousands of years ago, people used objects made from parts of animals as talismans.
Sorry, I'm going to sneeze.
As they believed they gained the qualities of that particular animal. So I suppose if you wore a bear, if you had a bear's foot or something, you'd have the power, you'd have the strength of the bear. So I think that's more in line to the talismans, isn't it?
Yeah.
A warrior, for instance, believed he would benefit carrying a leopard's claw or a shark's tooth because you've got the stamina, the strength, the power, the speed of the shark or the leopard or whatever. So I think where that's coming in. So Dankick says that throughout history, people have worn symbols of something they view as powerful in an effort to appeal and to harness that power. You're kind of saying, hey, powers, I know I can't see you, but I actually respect you so much that I'm wearing this on my body. Danzig also believes where talismans rest on the body says a great deal about the appeal being made. Often worn as a necklace, he says they fall right on your heart for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then it says, if you wear a talisman to attract financial success, your subconscious mind will work towards this goal and bring financial opportunities to your attention. He says in this instance, he could be said that your belief in the talisman is providing the necessary power to allow the process to work. So I've just answered my own bloody questions there, ladies.
Thanks, soldier. I didn't thought
Not all believers in talismans, however, think their power is self-propelled, nor something to dabble in for the sake of good fortune. Maria Green, author of Charms, Amulets, Talismans and Spells, chooses not to be formally interviewed for this story, but stressed it in an email. Dealing with this sort of thing is not a trivial pursuit to be dabbled in for fun, but rather a serious endeavour not to be taken lightly by any reader. And so we've got here some lists of the talismans along with some history. So we've got the evil eye. Have we mentioned the evil eye?
No, not yet.
The evil eye. Have you got that, Claire?
Joe Max alluded to it in her comments earlier up about
I've read it somewhere.
Right. It says, traced as far back as ancient Greece, the evil eye is meant to deflect the negative energy of an evil glare that originates from feelings of jealousy. Popular in multiple countries throughout Southern Europe, Central Asia, and the Middle East, including Turkey, Israel, Greece, Armenia, Iran, Lebanon. The amulet has now gone somewhat mainstream, with everything from purses to bracelets to even face masks popping up with the symbol. And it's like a blue circle. It's like a deep blue circle with a lighter blue circle in, with a white outline and then a dot in the middle as though it's an eye. Yeah. We've got the Griskris. Has anybody ever heard of the Griskris Talisman?
Can't say I have.
The Griskris looks like, to me, it looks like a bit of leather, to be honest. I can't show, I wish I could know how to transfer pictures on, but I don't. So you'll have to just have a look what a Griskris is. The Griskris is believed to originate with Islam traditions in Dagomba, Ghana, and is used amongst people in West Africa, the Caribbean, and in Cajun and Creole communities in Louisiana. This protective talisman, a small cloth bag filled with specially formulated ingredients, depends on the wearer's goals, traditionally features words that are believed to ward off evil spirits. The anchor. Was Claire read the anchor? Have you done the anchor, Claire?
I've read some things about the anchor because you kept laughing.
Life, did you say, Claire?
You are.
It says, also known as the Egyptian cross, the anchor is an ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic symbol that looks like a cross, but with a loop at the top. The anchor symbolizes eternal life, also known as the key of life. It is thought to represent the union of heaven and earth. These talismans often were placed on mummies to ensure the deceased would be reborn into a pleasant afterlife.
I'm trying to find a picture of that. I'm sure I've got a picture of that. But I've had a chain. I'm sure I've had a chain with an anchor on it before.
Claire showed a picture of a hand, didn't she?
Yeah.
Earlier. Well, Joe Mack wrote the Hamza hand or hand of Fatima.
Hand of Fatima.
Talisman. In all religions, it is a protective symbol. It is a talismanic symbol that people believe to protect them from harm against the evil eye and bring them goodness, abundance, fertility, luck, and good health.
Yeah.
So that ties in with the blue that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
That's the anchor.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was a Celtic cross. Wow.
No, that's the anchor.
Wow.
Yeah, that is the anchor. It's normally got the circle on, and then it's got the Eye of Horus. Have I got that right?
It like loops and then just
there's a loop, and then on it, I've got the Egyptian one. So would it be the Eye of Horus? Is it the Eye of Horus?
Oh, yeah.
But it's got
so the anchor on here. It says the breath of life. Originated from the Egyptian civilization, this symbol represents the regeneration of life through water. It is also found in many Egyptian tombs since they believed it a significant part of the afterlife.
Yeah.
In fact, every Egyptian gods are depicted carrying the anchor. The anchor is represented by a loop at the top with the arms extending on 3 different sides. It's also known as the crux and ansata, or a cross with a handle, because of its graphic representation. Some theories also suggest that it was also used during sexual activities to harness the regeneration of orgasms.
Ooh,
So there you go.
Ladies, get them at the side of your beds. Julie's put the eye always reminds me of Eamon Holmes interviewing that bloke who had an eye on the palm of his hand and said it was for protection. I remember that. Hey, Bon Sam. I'm going to say Bon. Joe Mike. Griskris. Oh, she's copying it and putting it into chat for Griskris. So the next talisman I come to is the ganache. Have I said that right? The ganache. The ganache is the elephant.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, and it's like an elephant on a man's body. It's actually an elephant's head on a man or woman's body, and it says representing the Hindu god of beginnings. The ganache, also called Ganesh, Ganesi, or Ganapi talisman, features the elephant-headed god with 4 arms, and it is thought to remove obstacles and allows wearers to move forward in life, both in new endeavors and afterlife destructions. So that might be good if somebody wants healing. Like if somebody wants to move on from
Isn't it a Hindu god, the elephant?
It says it's a Hindu god, representing the Hindu god.
I love elephants.
So that's used as a talisman, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
right. Seal of Solomon. Only
that's the one I read.
Chocolate ganache on cakes. So it's for a Hindu god Ganesh.
Oh, right, okay.
Rita, how are you, my lovely? We've also got the Seal of Solomon. Do any of you know the Seal of Solomon? That's like
I've seen that somewhere.
Star of David. It says often known as the Star of David. This symbol consists of 2 overlapping triangles, one pointing up and one pointing the other way. The upward pointing triangle represents fire, the sky, and masculinity. The downward pointing triangle indicates water, earth, and femininity. The star created by these 2 triangles provides ultimate universal protection. That's an interesting one. And then we've got the hamster hands, which is what I think is that the one that put is saying. It's like the hand ones. And it says, also known as the hands of Fatima, the hamster hands is an Arabic talisman that, according to I think this is Webster's site who I'm on, symbolizes hospitality, generosity, and the beneficial powers of God. This talisman is also popular in Israel and amongst Jewish people. It also provides protection for the owner of his or her loved ones. He says Lady Fatima was the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, and he considered her to be one of the 4 perfect women. The other were his wives. I can't pronounce these names. Qaida, Pharaoh's wife, and the Virgin Mary. The hand of the Fatima talisman consists of the right hand and the hand of honor, and each finger represents a member of Fatima's family. The 5 fingers also symbolize the 5 pillars of Islam.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know, when you go, these Roman Catholic ones. So in everything,
yin and yang.
Yang, yeah. We all know what yin and yang is. I think a lot of us try and bring the yin and yang into our lives a lot of the time, don't we?
There's a lot of geometric ones as well, like flower of life and sacred symbol, which is that one under the hand. You can see that one.
That's nice. I quite
when
like
you look
that.
When you look at the symbol, you will observe 7 overlapping symbols that represent patterns of creation. All the interlocking rings in the symbol have its own significance and can be linked to various situations, defining mathematicians, medicine, or even music.
So Soldiers put a question on. So I'm going to start with Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo, do you have a talisman type thing that you believe has actually worked for you?
I have had, and no, I don't think they worked. Not for me. In fact, when I was given it, I was quite young, and it was a 4-leaf clover, and the maternal side of my family were Irish, and my great-grandmother, I went over there a lot when I was little, and I didn't realise that she was obviously wanting to keep me occupied. So she'd say, go and look for a 4-leaf clover, darling. If you find a 4-leaf clover, you're going to have lots of luck and you'll get a biscuit or whatever she said she'd reward me. And so I'd look for ages for this 4-leaf clover because it was supposed to be lucky. Well, eventually I was given a 4-leaf clover. And although I understand a 4-leaf clover is very rare, and I understand the roots of the 4-leaf clover, it never brought, it didn't bring luck, and you were supposed to see leprechauns. And even as a child, I thought, well, that's made up. So how am I going to see a made up thing? So,
but is it made up? It's made up to some, but it's true to others.
But you don't see them walking down the street. It's not like, oh, if you see this, you'll see a horse.
You never know what your eyes can see if you believe. The thing is,
but we all see horses. Anyone can say you've seen a horse, or you'll see a pig, or you'll see a cow. But you don't walk down the road and see a leprechaun. And so as a child, I thought, I'm not going to see a leprechaun. So I never know.
The only reason I say I don't know is because when we were, it depends on age you were, Yo-Yo, I suppose. If you were like under 6, then your imagination would probably see one. But I think if you're over a certain age, then your mind's sort of like, how old would you have been, Yo-Yo?
I was about 9 or 10.
That's right. Yeah, I suppose 9 or 10. You're just coming out of that age of like make believe, aren't you? Really, 9 and 10. I think up to about 6, 7 year old. I think the imagination of a child is amazing. I remember when we were little, a gentleman up our road used to tell us he'd got fairies in his garden. And to this day, I still believe that I saw a fairy in his garden. Now, whether he'd placed them there, whether they were sparkly little lights, I don't know. But what we saw in his tree, it was magical. But as a child, I actually believed that they were fairies and they were elves because we'd see them. You know what I mean? And I think, like you say, I think that's what spoils the childlike, because you get to a certain age and parents will say, it's rubbish, don't believe in it. Do you know what I mean? And that's then it like switches your mind then to, well, you've just lied to me my entire life. I'm going back to this question. And Claire, go on. Talisman type thing. Do you?
Right, so I've never had any good luck charms or anything like that. I've not really believed in them, but then I do have the opposite effect where I won't walk under ladders and won't walk on a crack and all that. So I am superstitious in that way. But like I did say before, a classic, I don't know if it's an amulet or a talisman, but I do have my nan's rosary beads that are in my car. And like I say, every time I find myself in a situation, I'm always, because standing from a mirror, I'm always straightening them and touching them, and I'll ask for her help, and I believe that she does help me, because in the times that I have asked for help, I've got it now. Whether that's coincidence or not, I believe that it is my nan. So that is what I've got, and it works for me.
Lana?
Well, the one that I showed you, I was doing the wrong way. That one, and this one, never take that off. Can't really say that without them things may have been worse. We don't know, but I think that with each talisman, like with Claire with the rosary, there's a belief that's linked to them. And this is why there are various symbols which Lindsay showed from different cultures and Claire showed, which kind of, because it's their belief, it's immersed with their belief from whichever culture it came from. And sometimes we've adopted different symbols, such as the ankh and the Hand of Fatima and the Evil Eye, and a friend of mine brought one back for me and I hung it in the window. But I love things like that, so I kind of think, well, everything helps, It helps.
I've got a Hand of Fatima over there on my shelf.
Yes. And I think that, we do adopt them. But I think for those where it's kind of originated, it must have a lot more belief for them than it does for us that have kind of adopted their symbolism.
Because if I've got that hand up, I'd be like, that's beautiful and it's right up my street, but it wouldn't be something that I'd like ask for help or really believe in, like I do with my nan's rosary beads.
And I think this is where it comes back down to the makers of the talismans, because they would imbue them with either magical or religious kind of. Then we're coming on to symbols and sigils. So sigils are magical. Symbols is a language. It's a language that we, as a pictorial language that began since the dawn of man, really. Cavemen would put marks on walls to communicate with each other and communicate their perception of the outside world, as it were. So I feel as though, it's definitely linked with belief, and somebody can give you something and you can say that's beautiful. But you might not believe that it's,
I remember somebody once giving me, I know Jules put it earlier, a rabbit's foot. I was mortified. Mortified to be given a rabbit's foot, even though they were telling me it were a good look. My brain didn't see it as good luck. I just saw it as a little Bugs Bunny. And and it made me feel uncomfortable. So I very kindly declined it, and said, I'm so sorry, but I can't. I don't want a rabbit's foot. I don't want a baby foot on my key ring. So like you say, I suppose it does. I know for me, I always said wearing my dad's ring was what kept me on straight and narrow, because he was with me, but I don't need to wear his ring to know that he's protecting me anyway. But when I have wore his ring in the past, every time me and John's been in car, and we were coming back from Norfolk, both me and John in car, and we were doing like 60, 70 coming up to Swatham or wherever it were, and we come to roundabout. We slowed for roundabout. Just as we went over, as we were speeding up to roundabout, well, not speeding up, but as we were going the speed limit to the roundabout, I just had a feeling just to hold my dad's ring. And I held my dad's ring as we were coming up to roundabout. As we were crossing the roundabout, we got to the other side, and just before John started to put his foot down, the tyre went, and we got a flat tyre, and it went flat. Now, to me, I don't know whether that was a sixth sense kind of feeling coming, that I knew it was going to happen, but something told me just to hold my dad's ring, and I was holding my dad's ring when it happened. And I said to John, we've got somebody looking up after us, because obviously he's got loved ones that are going to look after him, and I'm wanting to say, it was my dad looking at me. I couldn't, but that's how it sort of like felt to me. So whether that's a talisman that I'm seeing it as, I don't know, but like I said, I believe it. Cliff's put talisman objects to illustrate further the power of imagination and blind belief. I will relate the case of a relative of mine who had tuberculosis. His lungs were badly diseased. His son decided to heal his father. He came home to Perth, Western Australia, where his father lived, and said to him that he had met a monk who had returned from one of the healing shrines in Europe. This monk sold him a piece of the true cross. He said he gave the monk the equivalent of 500 for it. The young man, and then it cut off. I can't see the rest of it. And then it says, this young man. So I presume there's more coming, Cliff. And that happened to a relative of yours then? Have you heard that before? Or anybody, or is it Cliff's relative that is saying? Soldiers put, he now believes there is something in these crystals. After going through the stuff you've done on members and finding out crystals put out pulsing energy at regular intervals, it's fascinating. I mean, we've done these signs and sigils, on as members. I actually showed them how to do a sigil. I'd got the circle with all the letters going round, and it showed you how to make the sigil signs. But I didn't realise that with sigils, you don't need to have this circle. You just need to be able to design your letters in that circle. Can be, I think you've got to have the letters in the circle because you have to spell it out. You've got to have the alphabet, but it doesn't have to be like the ABC. It can be A, C, D, B, all over. And then you link it up and you design your sigil that way. It can be very difficult because if it's a 2-word one, you have to overlay. So you have to use 2 different colours while you get it done. And then obviously when you're putting it out on your bigger paper, you can see it. Has any of you 3 seen that? Have you seen?
No, I read up on it. I read up on it though, because don't you take your vowels out or something?
No, everything's in. Everything's in it. They're all in this. I don't know where.
I think it said take your vowels out and then your letters you were left with it. But I've never done it.
See you then.
I can see your comments, Nanny Lane.
Can see you, Nanny Lane.
Oh yeah.
What did I say that were called?
Lynn, I think the top comment and top fan comment is all to do with Facebook.
It was sigils, weren't it?
Sigils, yeah.
I was just seeing if I could see. Sigils. I'm looking in glass. Do you know? Keep talking amongst yourselves. I'm just trying to see if I can find the sigils so I can show you if it's in this book. The sigil thing that I'm talking about.
I think first time I learned about sigils was when I watched Supernatural. I used to love that.
So sigils are more sort of magical, aren't they? They kind of
they are
give a power to whatever the symbol is, that you kind of use it for.
Yeah. Warding off things, trapping things.
Well, if you look at Reiki,
different things.
Reiki, they use symbols. They use symbolism for healing.
Symbolism's used in a lot, isn't it? In a lot of things.
Yeah. What I'm quite interested in as well is historical places that are kind of covered in symbolism, such as Royston Cave, the Templars Cave, which is, they believe that was coded language between them, because it was after Friday the 13th, after they'd been, executed. And several of them obviously had fled to this country. So it was kind of, those things intrigue me. People are still trying to work those symbols out, what they might mean. Will they ever know what they mean?
Again, going back to Da Vinci Code, that just blew my mind. Again, with all symbolism.
So you can see that, can't you?
Yeah.
So that is a sigil circle, right? The letters in there, obviously, I've done them. I've just put them in any old out, but that is a sigil circle. So what I'm going to do now?
That got all the alphabet in.
Yeah, it's got all the alphabet in, and then what I do. So say if I want, give me a sigil. Give me something to do.
Sigil.
Yeah, sigil. Tell me a sigil to do.
That's for soldier.
So I could do, I don't know. Protect the home. A sigil for protecting your home. So then what I'd do, I would go from, fucking hell, this is going to be difficult.
You're welcome, soldier.
Or, where's me O? O.
So you're actually spelling it out.
O. T. Where's me I? I. O. N.
Well,
so that one there, that sign there is protection, right? So if I do copy this off onto the side, and then you'll see what I mean.
So just put "you're not fooling me," Fletch. That's a bloody word search.
No. So I've done it to the side there. Look, so I've copied it to the side. So that says protection, and then I want home. So then you go H. Oh shit. H. O. N. E. So H. O. N. And E. So that there would be home protection, that symbol there.
Right.
Do you get what I mean?
Mm.
So that's what we were doing when it showed us how to do sigils. That's how it showed you how to do it.
So it all depends. So there'd be different pattern. It depends where you put your letters and how you put
your letters deters on your pattern. But then what you're supposed to do is, with this one here, where it like goes into a triangle, you can do a curve in it instead. So you can alter it. Do you know what I mean? You can make it. I mean, that's just a straightforward one, but you could sort of like, I don't know, put arrows on ends or where your points are. You can do like a curl or squiggly line or something. So you can make it more interesting. But that were training on sigils, on how to do sigils, and that's how we got shown how to make his own sigils. So you could do any you wanted to protect your home. So you could put you could spell out keep away negative energy. So you can do it takes some spelling it out, mind, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can and do them that way. So it's I found it
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting to do. Should I send you a I don't know if that's to me, Gillian, or somebody else. I've sent a full text to Claire via Messenger. If she can read out, would be great. So, Claire, Cliff sent it you.
Cool.
So, would you like meditate on what order you put your letters? Not necessarily. You can when you're doing your sigils, you can put your letters wherever. The one that one that I was watching. It's I think it's called the Green Witch or something. I know it's a witch's way I've done it, and there'll be many other ways on how to do it. So I'm just showing you like one way that you can do it. It was, I think, the Hearth Witch. I can't remember it. I don't know if it was the Hearth Witch that I was watching, and she was doing like a class on it and everything else. And I just copied the ones that she'd put. The order that she'd done them when I were making mine. But I suppose you can do it as long as you've got all the alphabet in the middle, going in the outer circle, you can have them anywhere you want to, but mix them up because you don't want them next to each other. Otherwise, you're not going to get no pattern. So, yeah. Do you want to read out Cliff's, Claire?
Yeah. So, talisman object. To illustrate further the power of imagination and blind belief, I will relate the case of a relative of mine who had tuberculosis. His lungs were badly diseased. His son decided to heal his father. He came home to Perth, Western Australia, where his father lived, and said to him that he had met a monk who had returned from one of the healing shrines in Europe. This monk sold him a piece of the true cross. He said he gave the monks the equivalent of $500 for it. This young man had actually picked up a splinter of wood from the sidewalk, went into the jeweller's, and had it set into a ring so that it looked real. He told his father that many were healed just by touching the ring or the cross. He inflamed and fired his father's imagination to the point that the old gentleman snatched the ring from him, placed it over his chest, prayed silently, and went to sleep. In the morning he was healed. All the clinic's tests proved negative. Of course, it was not the splinter of wood from the sidewalk that healed him. It was his imagination aroused to an intense degree, plus the confident expectancy of a perfect healing. Imagination was joined to faith or subjective feeling, and the union of the two brought about a healing. The father never learned of the trick that had been played upon him. If he had, he probably would have had a relapse. He remained completely cured and passed away 15 years later at the age of 89.
Wow.
So that's sort of like going back to the placebo effect,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. Fascinating.
It wasn't
It's
under his
the power
relative.
of the mind. It's what you believe. It's that belief that you put into something. That's giving me goosebumps. That's amazing.
It's not just that, it's that we all possess that ability to heal when we can call on it, but it's just that catalyst that we need in order to do that.
Yeah, because I've woke up some mornings and thought, right, power of the mind. I'm going to be fit and well today, and get out of bed. I'm not fit and well today. You know what I mean? But if you've got something greater to expand that on, if you've got something greater to believe in, that gives you more power of the mind, I guess, then it's fascinating.
But soldiers put it, your mind has massive power to mend your body, and the amount of people that you read that the mind sort of like healed them. When you read up on different stories, it's amazing what the power of the mind can do. And belief, Cliff, yes, told you, belief is everything. So
that's what I said to Lindsay when Lindsay said about topics to talk about, and I said next week I'd like to talk about visualization and healing, because I think it's fascinating.
It definitely is. It's mind-blowing.
That placebo effect.
Oh, definitely. So then why do we torture ourselves? I don't think we torture ourselves. I just think I think when you're not very well, you don't feel well enough. Your mind doesn't feel very well. And I think for a lot of people, it's like it. I think you've got to be have a positive outlook on life. And I think sometimes when people get told that they've got an illness or they're having an operation or whatever, your mind, the fear takes over your mind.
You've got this shit going off in your life as well, aren't you, around it? It's not just that one thing.
You can guarantee how many times when something happens, you say, fucking hell, that's the first thing that's happened.
Yeah.
When's two going to happen? Because it always...
come on. I always start off saying, like, can no else go? And I'm just about to say wrong, and I stop myself because I'm thinking, it can, just shut up.
We always say when somebody passes away, it always comes in threes for us, but we say it, and because we're saying it, we're putting that. I'm not saying we caused that to happen.
I mean, I shut myself up. I think just stop there. Just stop.
Three bad things to happening. So it might be death of somebody, and you'll say, right, when's next three going to be? And it could be end of month, car might break down. And then I might have an argument with one of kids. And that's me three big bad things. And it's sort of like, because you've got it in your head, it's
they come in threes. You're waiting, you're sort of like willing on the next two.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I've started like stopping myself.
I think it's very easy though to be a negative. I think, like you said, when you've got stuff going off or you've been through stuff, it's very easy to have a very negative outlook.
It is.
And in a way, see, I don't have a negative outlook. I can feel sorry for myself, and especially when I'm in pain. But I always try to look at the positive in everything. And it's like when we're doing lives, I could be in agony and I will come on and do a live, and then afterwards I'll be crying when we go off, but that's because I won't let it show. Do you know,
won't let it stop you doing what you want to do.
That's it. It's not that I don't want to show.
You won't let it hold you back.
It won't, and I don't allow it to hold me back, because if
you pay for it, but you don't want it to take over your life.
Why don't we all heal ourselves? But we don't, because some people, I believe that some people are more in touch with their mind than others. I think it's like we say, as brains are an amazing muscle in his head that holds so much.
I also think the big pharmaceutical companies have taken over our minds, and we don't trust ourselves anymore. We'd far prefer to reach for.
Well, if I said to you,
our massage points, or we've got reflexology points on our hand. We don't just have the feet. And if you've got a headache, you can rub here. There's for headaches and bad headaches.
Yeah, same as there.
We prefer to take a Nurofen.
I think the trouble is, though, now, we've got pharmaceuticals, but we need as body needs the medicine, I believe. So in some cases, the body needs that medicine to help.
Yeah, it is necessary.
You can't heal it without the medicine. I don't, but some cases, phenomenal, brilliant. In the majority of cases, you cannot heal without the medicine. So once you're getting the medicine, I think then you need to start focusing that positive energy in telling yourself these tablets are going to work, instead of saying these tablets are shit and they're not working and they're causing me to be sick, or they're causing me to put weight on, they're causing me to have upset tummy. You're giving it all negative thoughts to your head for your head to feed on. So then when you're taking the tablets, you just look at it as a negative way, which I think we all do when we're taking tablets, whereas though if you're on tablets or on medication or on anything, if you think in your head, you're giving yourself them affirmations, them good thoughts. I'm not going to say you're going to be healed, but you will be in a better place. And in some cases, some people would be able to heal themselves depending on the condition. Nobody stopped taking medication just because we're saying the power of the mind can heal. It can't. I don't want anybody to, because there is people out there that will cut all the medication because they've heard people say we can heal ourselves. As mind can heal us, but we do need the pharmaceutical companies. Always go by what your doctor says, because nobody on here is a doctor. I'm covering his backs here, ladies. None of us
paracetamol, but that's because I'm allergic to everything. So when I'm in mega pain, I have to sort of put up with it.
Yeah.
But if I needed antibiotics or anything like that, I'd be straight to doctors.
Of course you do. But yeah, the power of medieval healer herbalist lady was amazing. But again, with herbs and roots, you still need your medication along with them. Don't ever stop taking your medication.
I think everything has its place. Everything does.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we do need medication to help, Cliff. Definitely we do. So talismans. Let's get
try that.
Talismans.
I'm going to try that. That Cliff's put. He tells his body each night before he goes to sleep to repair. I'm going to try that.
But yeah.
So that intention's there, isn't it? You're telling yourself. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, it's the affirmation. I forgot what I'm going to say now. I'll say it after. I'll say it when we talk
talisman. You said talisman. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll talk. But when we do yo-yos next week, we can talk about affirmations then, because it's sort of like links in everything on that one, doesn't it? So yeah, back to talismans then. So if you had to pick a talisman, which one would you pick and why? Yo-yo.
Do you want to look at the talismans?
I think
reading through them.
I think I'd have to look for one because I don't accept them.
All right, no. So if it weren't a talisman, so we'll change it for you then, because I know with talismans it's not your thing. If you had to choose something, what would you choose for you to? How can I word it? What item would you choose to have on you to get something from? Let's say.
Well, where they're not. I mean, I've got a necklace and it's got my dad's ring on it, and I wear that because it is a sign of affection for my dad, because I know he wore it and I think that touched him, and I've got it with me. But then I wouldn't call that a talisman. That's
a you go for something for you. It'd be something from your dad, something family orientated, and just the love that comes with it for you.
Yeah.
Lana,
do you mean of the symbols that has been shown tonight, or
could be any symbol whatsoever?
Well, I have to say this because there is belief connected with it, because it goes back to my roots, where my dad came from. So the symbols on this kind of means more to me than they would if I just picked it up and liked the pattern. Do you know what I mean? So it has a deeper meaning.
It's like people with St. Christopher, they're like talismans to people with St. Christopher on. It's that
my old St. Christopher upstairs in office.
It is beautiful, that though. Claire?
Again, for me, you could give me any talisman in the world, but I wouldn't swap it for my nan's.
Yeah, keep same.
Well, I think it works for me.
I'm going to look for a talisman and I'm going to order it, and I'm going to see, and I'm going to do a test, and just not test it, but see if my intent with it changes something. That's what I'm going to do.
I mean, if I were going to buy a talisman, if I were going to buy a talisman now, I'd not necessarily even be looking what it did. I'd have to connect with it there and then, so I'd have to be like, it's that one. Do you know? I'd have to visually just there and then, like, look at them and say, it's that one.
I think
whatever you're drawn to, for me,
it would be I chose mine. It wasn't because
what you're drawn to. I wouldn't read up on it until after I'd been drawn to it.
Gillian, take care. I think for me, the era I'm drawn to for talismans is the Viking era.
Yeah.
You see, that symbol, that anchor symbol, is the one that I would have been drawn to tonight.
That's what I'm drawn to. Definitely the you've got Thor's hammer. You've got and Thor's hammer could have been worn by male and female Vikings. Because you were going, it was the strength of Thor. He was I think, was Thor the god of all gods in their belief, kind of thing. Thor was the strong power, weren't he, Thor? Because it was the hammer of Thor.
One of the main ones. Then you had Odin, and
that's it. Odin. That's it. It was Thor and Odin, weren't it?
Yeah.
So you got different gods that represented different things. So I know Freya. I think she were more for fertility. I think Freya had a dark side to her.
Yeah, she did.
She wasn't this all loving God. But when you think of them, none of them were ever all loving. They'd all got the good and the bad to them, and they were gods, you know. So I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it, really, when you look at it that way?
Sorry, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go for yin and yang, because I always say for everything there's an opposite. That's what I always say it. So I think mine's yin and yang.
Yeah. So, Yo-Yo, now we've said that, is there anything that you would go for that you're drawn to?
No.
I
think if somebody made me something, like Lana was saying earlier, if somebody made me something and said this was made by somebody that put their intent in it specifically for you, and it was all, as Joe said earlier, about something that was made for you with love, then I would wear it knowing the intent that was put in it, and I would hold it. But
that'd be more dear.
To look at something on the internet and it was just made in a factory and I put it round.
Mass produced.
because because I didn't hold that in my head as meaning something. Therefore, I don't believe it would mean something.
Yeah, definitely.
It wouldn't have any intent there.
Deanna's put, I love my pentacle with a raven on it. I love ravens as it also represents the north too. I also wear a Mary medal too because of her being a close relative. It makes me feel close to her.
Yeah, see, something else is sentimental reasoning behind which is powerful for.
Soldiers, I think Soldiers answering. Clear quartz pulses energy at exactly 1,000 times per second. Clear quartz pulses energy at 1,000 times per second. And he's put saying that I'm still in
atrial fibrillation.
Atrial fibrillation.
Oh,
atrial fibrillation.
Everyone has got a good and bad in them. It's just it's just what you side you choose. It is just what the side you choose, definitely so. But yeah, I think for me, the when you look back, I mean, Saxons, Vikings, Romans, the talismans that they wore, especially to those going out in battle. To people that, I mean, I'm sure weren't it talismans that they had to put on the door in Caesar's time? They killed old boys. And they had
when they were looking for Moses.
I don't know, but they put old wards, didn't they, out on doors? Or there was might be not that one I'm thinking of, but there was a time when, and I can't remember which religion it was. Don't know if it were Romans. I'm sure it was
Jesus they were looking at when they were looking at.
I don't think it was to do with that. There was something that went off, and they got told they had to put these symbols on the door, and if they painted the symbols on the door, they'd be safe. And all houses were painted, and those that didn't have the symbol on the door, when these warriors come in, they went to they got those that didn't believe in this symbol for safety. I don't know whether it was something that I might, it could be off a bleeding film for all I know.
Was that the Vikings, Lindsay?
Pardon?
Was that the Vikings?
No, it weren't Vikings. I think it was more to do with Romans. I think it was more to do on a Roman level. But like I said, I could have seen it in a film, and it might just be make believe. It might just be a fairy story. But it's
I don't know, but my history's not very good.
No, it's a long
my religion.
When you go back in history, and talking about the horseshoe, our generation now is far more knowledgeable. We understand heat, we understand metal. They forged that stuff through sheer hard labor, getting stuff to that head. And for something that we all take for granted now must have been so magical to them. So to have had a talisman that was made out of this fabulous material, to them, I mean, it must have made them feel just incredible. It'd be like if somebody came up with a UFO lands in the field next to me, and an ET walks up and says, "Here, this metal is, and you can keep it." And I knew it had come from outer space, and it had come off a UFO. I would hold that, and I think, "Wow, this isn't on Earth. This is incredible. It's so new. No one's got one." But so I guess for them, when they were going into war, it must have given them so much strength.
These days, you talk about horseshoes. Do we still have blacksmiths that make horseshoes, or are they mass produced? Is an horseshoe mass produced, or have we still got blacksmiths that do the shoes? Because when I've never seen an
horse done on a 3D printer now.
They will be. But how sad is that? I mean, that is such an artwork in itself, like Yolanda's saying. All that sweat and all that. I mean, not just with horseshoes, but
you've seen them on films, aren't you, where they just stand there with anvil and they're just like, red hot, and they're eating them up and they're just banging away at them.
Back then, stuff, when people made stuff for you, it were made genuinely. It was made with
blood, sweat, and tears.
It was. Whereas though these days now, there's nothing that we can. There's nothing, like you said. It's not blood, sweat, and tears, and it's sort of like we've lost that side of us. We've lost that part of our culture, if you want to call it. And it's not just our culture; it's all cultures. you've sort of like lost that rawness, that sort of like.
And then father used to pass it on to son, who used to pass it on to son, who used to pass it on to son.
Blacksmiths will normally make custom shoes for horses on site. Cheers. I love the piece of meteorite I have.
I would.
A pendant.
I'd love one as well.
You have to show us that, Jules.
No, I'd love one. I'd love a piece of meteorite and have it made into a pendant.
I know. I told you, and Anne-Marie's put his Egyptians. I'm thinking on. I don't know whether it were Egyptians. Like I said, I can just remember a painting. They had to paint something on the door. It was something in red. I'm trying to see it. They had to paint something in red on the doors. And if they painted this symbol on the doors, nobody could go through, nobody could get in. But all the homes that didn't have it painted on the door, soldiers could go into, or somebody could go in. Now, again, I don't know if I'm reading it. I don't know where I've got it from. It's just some bit of information in my head, and it could be a bloody useless.
It's like witches' markings, isn't it? Didn't they used to put markings inside on the fire?
Yes, in some places that you can go into, there's still markings to be found.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the actual markings were.
I'll tell you what, that Saxon church, I'm sure in that Saxon church in the roof, there's markings in that roof.
Probably.
Part of the, I'm sure there's some place we're going. There's somewhere we're going when we come to you.
Oh, you read it?
And I have read it. And it said that if you look closely in the oldest part, you can still see the markings. And I don't know where I've read it, but I know
Is it not that Abbey? Is it not Eggleston Abbey?
It might be Abbey. It might be Abbey. I've not read it on something that I was looking up that you'd sent me, and it was saying about markings still being in some at work. Whether it's in which stone, whether it's on wood, I'm not sure, but there's markings somewhere that you can still see to this day. Because I was like, oh my God, are you?
It could be the church, you know, Lindsay.
I tried Tibetan Bell, and I didn't realise. I mean, it's not. Sorry, it's similar vein, but the Tibetan Bell, I didn't realise all the symbols on my Tibetan Bell mean something. This means that. And when you climb it and the things go out, every single symbol means something.
And do you know what each symbol means? You're having you look that up.
I did read it, Lindsay, and it was fascinating. I couldn't recall that now. I'd have to reread it. But it was all, the usual sort of like protection and love and
depending on which way you rang your bell or which.
No, I think it was just the order of the handle down to the top of the bell and down. Yeah. And then as it rang out, those things emitted in the sound. Yeah.
I'll have a look at our little bell and see if we've got any signs.
You should have on the Tibetan bell we've got relevant symbols.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Soldiers of Game of Thrones. Most churches have markings like that, and they were there to ward off evil, etc. There was. Joe's put plastic or compositive horseshoes have been on the market for 20 years or more and made from a number of compositives. They are designed to replicate the hardness of a healthy horse natural hoof. Some plastic shoes have a steel or aluminium core, and some are compost materials only. They can reduce concussion, improve traction. I know,
I didn't know that.
They can reduce concussion, improve traction. Composite horseshoes with no steel or aluminium core offer significantly more shock absorption for the horses on street surfaces, such as on the carriages or the police.
Oh, wow.
So they make plastic horseshoes now, apparently.
No, I've never thought of that.
Well, no. It always made me wonder how they didn't hurt horses.
I know.
They were shoeing them, because when you look at size of nails, they pull out and when they've shoed them. And I think with the bloody hell, that's got to have gone inside the.
Yeah.
But obviously, it can't hurt.
But then, I mean, obviously, if you rip your nail out, it kills. But if you cut your nail off, it doesn't hurt, does it? Because there's no nerves in your nails. So if they're close to same kind of thing.
And we got nerves in. No, not in. It's the nail under.
No, because you cut them, don't you? You don't scream when you cut your nails. It's
like
all right.
I'm being a bit stupid. It's
I need to plug you in just a second. I'm going to lose you.
I'm thinking, if I burn my nail, I can feel pain. Well, obviously I'm going to, because it's the nerves in my thumb, in it, not my nail.
Yeah.
Dear. Makes sense for horses that are mainly on concrete to wear like a nice shoe. It's like cutting your hair.
It's all keratin, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's more to talk about with signs and symbols. Definitely more. Talismans, I think, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at ordering a couple of different talismans.
Be interesting.
Experiment. I'm going to put that intent there. I don't know if anybody in chat,
yin and yang.
You're going to get a yin and yang and just see. I know Lana's got hers already. Yo's not going to bother because you don't believe it.
Well, actually, maybe it would be a good idea if I did get one.
Maybe it would be a good idea, but you would have to make sure you put that intent into it, though. So that's going to be a test on you, that to put that intent into that.
Maybe you put the intent in yours, Lindsay, and I do nothing with mine and just let it do its job. Or do you have to put intent in? I mean, surely the talisman is symbolic in itself.
I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm going to look for a talisman that is for health and wealth. That's what I'm going to
I'll get the same. You put intent in and I'll put none in.
And see how you benefit.
Joe, Joe's just put, Yo-Yo's got hers, a father's ring. I agree with you, Joe, but the experiment here is, as somebody that
but don't you think then you don't believe in it, so you need to be the one that puts the intent there, and it should be me that doesn't, because I believe it works.
It needs to be opposite way.
So it's got to be you that has to
put that belief in. I just want to specify, I believe that symbolism and things can work for you, like Lana's got a talisman on. That means something, therefore I think it will work. But for me, I wear my dad's ring, and I love having that because it's. So
do you know somebody bought you? So if I bought you a
something,
if I bought you a talisman that's going to protect your home, and I said to you, you need to. I bought you this, and it's to put above your door. It's to protect your home. But would you believe that intent from what I've just given you?
Because you put the intent in it, therefore I would believe it.
Get you.
But if I went shopping and I saw a medal that I didn't particularly like, or a talisman that I didn't particularly like, and the man behind the counter said, that's going to make you rich, love, and I buy it because I think it's going to make me rich, and I put it on the side there, I don't believe that will make me rich.
Hence why they don't work.
Like this, I wear this. I've had this on now. I've had that on now for 2 years.
Then everyone would buy them, wouldn't they? So something more has got to happen to that. Otherwise, if that talisman worked, that was going to be rich, everybody would buy that talisman. So there's got to be more to it than a massive.
Does anybody believe in the Is it
Blarney stone?
Yeah, Mum kissed it.
What?
My mum kissed it.
Did
my mum's kissed it.
Yeah. You kissed it upside down.
Apparently, you have to dangle right over now to.
Yeah, I heard that.
You've got a photo of herself doing that.
Yeah, you have to lean right over.
Kissing it like that.
This way, I'd kiss it.
Soldiers put, isn't the intent already put in the talisman? It is. The intent's already there. But if you don't believe it, then don't make no difference what intent's already in it. If you don't believe that it's going to work, it's not going to work.
But is the intent, if it's mass manufactured, if you know that item's been made by Joe Bloggs there, and you know Joe Bloggs does make them and he's put the intent in it, fair enough. But if you just got to a market store and it's just a mass manufactured thing, how, I think there's a difference.
I think that, you're right, Yolanda, because obviously it's been created for aesthetic purposes,
it's not created for the intention.
What it was meant for. I think there's cash to be made in that. and they believe that everyone's going to get healthy.
I mean, it's somebody who does these aren't mass produced. These are created and then imbued with.
And that's
a made is made for money. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's like if I was going to get something made, I'd look for, if I were going to have something made out of wood, I won't go to an electrician to make me something out of wood. I would go to somebody that can make me what I'm after him. You know, if I wanted it making him, I'd go to somebody that does woodwork that could create something that I asked for, and I'd ask them to create it out of the certain bark of tree or a certain ritual to it before they've done it. Do you know what I mean? I think if it's done that way and the intent to put, like you said, in original day, when you go back, the talismans now that we've got are so different because they're mass produced. When you go back in time, and I think this is when the talismans meant something, because they were just made by people carving out just wood, you know, just carving stuff out of wood. Or like you said, they might have got a little bit of silver and they might have melted it down in melting pot and created Thor's hammer, you know. But they were all originally made. I mean, again, if you think about it, they were still mass produced because they all wore them. You know, they all had a Thor's hammer. So they were still mass produced, but it wasn't necessarily for money then. It was more,
at least it was mass produced by hand, whereas now they've been stamped. But do you know, in a way, if you look at food, if everyone here was coming round to my place tonight and I thought I'm going to cook everybody some supper, I would make that supper with love. I would butter the bread with love. I would make sure everything looked lovely and it would all be done and we'd all sit down and
bread.
But as opposed to going to a factory, those people, God love them, that are packing
slap them together.
You know, they're on minimum wage. They've got to do a ghastly job in a ghastly environment, packing that food. They're not doing it with love. They're doing it
for a job because they've got
mass manufactured. There's no love in that food. Why should
no, it's a boring routine.
It's not for money, but it's them to earn a wage, so they'll do anything. Soldiers put Claire, what were you trying to show us on your wrist and tell us?
All right, so it's nothing. Sorry to let you down. It's not special. I was just going back to what we were getting at with like intent and stuff and what you believe. So I've had this on my wrist now. I don't know if you can see it properly, for 2 years. And my mum bought it, mate, and it's one of the magnets, and it's supposed to promote healing with the magnet. And like I said, I've not took it off 2 years. It's stainless steel, so it won't rust or anything. But I believe that helps me. And my mum's got terrible arthritis, and she said, Claire, my left wrist is killing me. And she wears a watch on her left wrist like me, so she's been having it on her right. So I said, swap your bracelet over to your left arm. And she has done. And for last month now, she's said what an improvement it's made on her wrist. Now, is it the bracelet or is it a mind? But either way, it's working.
And it's nice that because she's getting the release from pain. So it's
exactly.
It is. I was going to say something then, and I forgot what I was going to say, Claire. I forgot what I was going to be.
Either way, it's helping.
Yeah. So it's like the gypsies in their lavender. They went and picked the lavender and put that ribbon, etc., around it to sell. It was thought. It was thought of, not made in a factory.
Yeah.
1000%.
Lots of different, so many different things. But I mean, for those that do believe in talismans, do you know what? Keep believing in them. Because again, for me, intent is everything. Intent is everything. That's the biggest compliment I get when I do the funeral flowers. It's when people say you can tell they've been made with love. I only do family, close friends, and I always think of the person whose funeral it is while I'm doing it. Exactly. And do you know, back in like, I mean, I know you're doing it now, but everything back in early Saxons, Vikings, Romans, even before that, everything were made with love, because it was made with the intent was always there. So
completely different.
Completely different.
The thing is as well, I mean, would some is this me just thinking crazy? Would some talismans have been made by like certain holy people kind of thing? Would they be made by someone higher up in some sort of religious
priestesses, or I don't
they were. I mean, what they said in what I read in that booklet is that they would have been classed as magi.
Wise men.
The wise men from,
So hence they did mean something, because they was made by that specific type of person.
And magi, that's magic, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like a holy man, isn't it? This is who, going back to the nativity where the three wise men came into it. This is what they said, that they were magi. And they kind of brought wisdom.
They missed my bloody wisdom. They took my wisdom at birth.
I've got wisdom. I've got 4 lots of them, wisdom teeth.
All mine are gone. I don't think it might have made them, just as long as they're made with love. Yes, totally agree. Anyway, I'm yawning. We're gonna end the live. We're gonna end the live because we've got to be up early in the morning. I've got to pop to Meadowall. I've got to pop to Jordan's, and if I get time in the afternoon, I will be messaging you, Yo-Yo, because we might nip to Buxton. It just depends on how the day goes. If I don't go to Buxton tomorrow, we will be going to Buxton next week. I am going to be live tomorrow on members, and I'm going to be doing some pendulum work over on members on some items that we've got. We've got the item that Claire gave us. We've got some other items in drawer that I want to use pendulum on. So it's going to be a mixture of different items tomorrow. So I might spend 20 minutes on one and 20 minutes on another. It depends what we've got going off. I'm going to set up as well the Alice box. So when I'm using pendulum, I've got the Alice box. So see if the Alice box can match up or give other information out as well we're doing as thingamajig. I don't know if I'll be on for morning chit chat. Claire may be live this weekend. If she's out and about, she's going to go live for us. I don't know if you're going in members or on main. You'll have to let me know.
I will do.
Which one you want to do. Myself and John will be live at some point on Sunday. I mean, we'll be live Saturday, and we've got football, so we'll be live Saturday night. I don't know whether we're going to do a late chit chat, because I want him to be up about 5:30 in the morning to set off for a 2-hour and 8-minute drive. So we can get to the early market and is that
what it is then to Lana's 2 hours 8 minutes?
Yeah.
Or is it 2 hours 8 minutes at that time of day?
I don't know. I think it said 2 hours. I put it in when we were at dinner time. About 11 o'clock I put it in, and I think it's about 2 hours 8 minutes. Yeah, I think it's only about 2 hours 8.
It's not long, is it?
No. So I said to John, I said I'd booked us to go to this thing tomorrow. Right, no, on Friday. We've got this pass. It's not, we pay for pass, we pay yearly. Go on.
Heritage, and who's it that
English
one?
Heritage, right? We've got the English Heritage ones. So I says to him, I want to start going to these places. We've been paying for it since before lockdown, and we've only been to 2 places. So it's not a very good thing on money. So I said to John, I says, I want to go to some place. Anyway, I seen a beautiful one. It's beautiful. So I sent it him, and he went, have you booked this? And I went, yeah, I've gone online. I says, and it to book tickets. So this was this morning. Well, I'd sent it him last night, but he'd gone to sleep. So obviously he's seen it where we're going. And he said, "Do you know where that is?" And I went, "No." He says, "It's about half an hour away from Lana's." And it was 2 hours. It was 2 hours, 2.5 hours. It was to get me to this place.
Wow.
It's near Lana's. And I said to God, "We're going to have to go. I'm not bothered whether we're not coming Friday because we're already. I'm not coming up to come back down. To come back up again.
Time to go back up."
So where is this?
Hang on. Let me see. Because I've booked us in and everything, because you got to book it online. So I booked us in to go. And hang on, let me see. Where's John on my phone?
While Lindsay's doing for that soldier, I'd love to go to Whitby, but it needs finding somewhere to stay. Soldier put a thing in about
for that vampire.
To do with Whitby.
I know. It's going to be absolutely packed. That's the problem, isn't it? Finding somewhere to stay.
Because that's quite a journey. Is that about 3 hours away, Whitby?
Is that
No,
the
I'm going to Whitby at weekend. It's about an hour and a half, an hour and 50.
Oh,
is that the festival?
Yeah.
Please tell me the one you've already sent. It's called Mount Grace Priory.
Mount Grace Priory?
Yes.
I've not heard of it.
Discover the most complete surviving Carthusian monastery in Britain. Founded in the late 14th century, you can still see remains of all the priory buildings today. Take a walk around a typical small church with a striking survivor's tower, exploring the great cloisters, and don't miss the re-instructed monk's cell. In the strict Carthusian lifestyle that made the layout of a Mount Grace Priory so unique, the priory was created so each monk could live in solitude.
Where is that? Then does it say where?
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, you could stay in Scarborough in theory, Yolanda. It's only half an hour away.
Is it? What, from Whitby?
Mm-hmm.
Or from here?
From Whitby.
All right.
Yeah, from Whitby.
Got to find somebody that will take Charlie for
Have a look. We'll have to have a look.
Yeah, we need somewhere that's dog friendly to stay.
Whitby and Scarborough is dog friendly. All dog friendly.
Northallerton.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Whitby and Scarborough is really dog friendly.
Staddlebridge.
Piston Sleepot Beach.
When is the event? Is it June?
I've not been there.
Well, you best get looking, kid, because
did you say it would be a soldier? I can't remember a date.
What for?
Write it down.
It's
the vampire.
Yeah, it's too busy for us when on that vampire weekend.
I've been to that twice. I've been to that a couple of times. It's brilliant.
They're doing Guinness Book of Records, see how many vampires they can get there.
Are they really?
Specific date, people dressed up as vampires.
Jordan's booked us because it's John's 50th this year, so she's booked. She's paid for us to go to Whitby for 2 nights.
Lovely.
So she'll be doing it just after his birthday. So at end of July, I think. I don't know whether it's just before or just after birthdays. John's got it. I think it's just after. So we'll be going like
26th of May.
July, beginning of August. For 2 nights. So she's got us into this right nice hotel that's down there, and she says it's absolutely lovely. So we will be in
26th of May. Let's see if I can book that place.
Yeah.
26th of May. Is that a bank
holiday? When it is?
The Gothic one. I'm gonna have to see if I can get Michelle to come up and stay here for the night.
Bank holiday? No, it's not bank holiday. It's
I want to go to
bank holiday is 30th, Monday 30th.
What's 26th?
That's a Thursday. Thursday 26th of May.
What's happening on 26th of May?
The Gothic
That's
weekend.
No, it's the vampire. No, it's not the Gothic weekend. It's the vampire.
The vampire week. It's not.
For the Guinness Book of Records, see how many vampires they can have there.
Ooh! Might
So
just have a look at all vampires. I might get bit.
Chance of being
garlic round the neck. and I rubbed garlic butter all over. So they got I'd be good at that. Yeah.
What did you mean about wisdom teeth, soldier?
What's it put? Get pissed and sleep on the beach?
No, it puts about wisdom teeth. I was so angry when I found out about the truth about removing wisdom teeth.
Because we were talking, you said about you having your wisdom teeth still.
Oh, and I said I was so angry when I found out the truth about removing wisdom teeth.
Truth about what?
Why? What is it? What do they do, soldier? Take half your gum out. Pull all the bone out from underneath your other teeth.
Oh.
Who knows?
I don't know. Bloody katana.
I didn't know Liam Gallagher had a shop at Meadowhall, the green shop. Ooh, I'll have a look at Meadowhall. I'll have a look at Meadowhall because we nip into Meadowhall tomorrow. It's beautiful.
I went to Parkgate tonight, so I didn't have to go to Meadowhall tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to go. Going first thing though, so we don't get trampled on by people. I want to be in and out like lightning. I don't want to be in there. I hate the place. So right, guys, we are going to end it, and we shall see you all tomorrow. Yo-Yo, do you want to say your good nights?
Good night. God bless. Thanks for joining in, everybody.
Claire.
Night. God bless everyone. Much love.
Lana.
Good night. God bless everyone. Thanks for coming.
Good night, sweet dreams. Don't dream of monsters, dream of fairies. Love you, look. Take care, everybody, and have a blessed weekend.